Let's make some noise. Come on.
Oh, thank you once again, Nick Foles, and I'm sorry about all that. Little technical difficulties kind of chiming in, but hey, welcome everybody back to the Final Word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy MattyB once again on the call, and it's great to be back here with a second consecutive night. And yeah, I gave you out some false information yesterday. I forgot we had switched the Fighting's Final. I had switched it with Mike, so I apologize. So yeah, here we are. We're going to do a show. So I guess a mistake equals the success. So welcome back to the program. It is a great night to be here. And, you got the Phillies. Where the hell did it go? You got the Phillies 12-7 winners over the Seattle Mariners tonight in a big-time offensive onslaught today down there at Citizen Bank Park. There was I guess when you look at this thing and you judge of how it can look when it really works, this is an example of it. They got the power, 4 home runs. Of course they're going to get that. But they also did play some contact baseball, which was nice to see. And they kind of built that 7-0 lead. And then Ranger Suarez, and that's probably the more positive sign of this whole game, is the fact that Ranger Suarez was so dominant. I mean, if there was ever a time that we needed a pitching performance like we got tonight from Ranger, this was definitely the time with the situation around Zach Wheeler, who apparently had successful blood clot procedure done today. Hopefully a speedy recovery is in his future. But and then, of course, the drama around Aaron Nola and the other inconsistencies that are plaguing this pitching staff. It was good to see Ranger come out and really throw a dominant game. And then he had the 7th inning where he gave up the home run, and then Rob Thompson had decided he had seen enough, and he went to the bullpen, and things got a little tight. And I don't know. I mean, as I said, if there was a pitcher out there that needed a shot of confidence or a boost of confidence, it was Ranger. And when you have a 6-run lead at that time, why are you in a hurry to get him out of there? I would have personally, I would have left Ranger in there. As I said, if there was a pitcher out there that you wanted to kind of see how he was going to react, or, in terms of how you wanted to see him react and have a really good night, Ranger Suarez was definitely that pitcher. And I would have left him out there. And of course, what happened after that was the bullpen came in and got somewhat lit up. Jordan Romano didn't really do much to help things out, made the game kind of close, 7-4. But then the Phillies offense continued to power their way through the night. So all in all, a very good win, another very good win for the Phillies, as they now, are building some confidence. And this is what you want to see. Again, I said this at the top, I'll say it again. When it's working right, this is what it's supposed to look like. And when it is working right, there's not many teams out there that could go toe-to-toe with the Phillies. So a big 12-7 win tonight for the Fighting Phillies down there at the bank. Obviously, that is on the table to discuss tonight, as well as the Eagles trade of John Menchie, whatever, how you ever say his name. We can continue that conversation that we started last night. I still asked a very important question. Was wide receiver really a position of need at this point of the season? So, but we can definitely continue that conversation. And then everything else that we pretty much do here on the program on a regular basis. Your day in Philadelphia sports history, your of the night segment, and of course, MattyB's card review all await you on this lovely Monday night on the Final Word. So let's get it rolling. Let's get it rocking and rolling right off the bat. But before I do that, just want to mention a couple things off the bat. Remember, we are with you every single night, every single Phillies game with the Fighting's Final. Mike jumped in today. This is the Fighting's Final lineup for the rest of the week. Steve Fuentes has you tomorrow, and I will be back on Wednesday. That is my scheduled day to do the program. So I'll be on Wednesday. But make sure you're checking in every game. We're getting down to it. It's getting to that point of the season when the when all the hard work of doing these shows every game or every night pays off with a playoff appearance. So let's hope that we can continue that, and we will continue with the Fightins final, until this thing ends. So make sure you're checking in. Also, don't forget, on Friday night, we're back with you for the final Eagles preseason game of 2025, mercifully against the Jets with the Birds flyby. Steve Fuentes should be hosting, but we'll see. Maybe he's not. But right now it's Steve. And then we'll be starting our regularly Birds flyby post games for every regular season and beyond games in 2025. So make sure you're checking the Birds flyby. And then the Birds blast with Kyle Quinn. That's not what I wanted to show you. I want to show you this one. Season 6 premiere is now Tuesday, September 2nd at 7. So we moved it. It was at the 28th of August, but we moved it back to right before the start of the regular season, a couple days actually before the Eagles will kick it off. Me and Kyle will kick it off on the 2nd. With our season 6 premiere of the Birds Blast. So make sure you're there for that. And our new show debuting on Saturday, August the 30th, right after kickoff, right after the game goes final, is the Happy Valley Huddle, the Penn State Nittany Lion post-game show. Week 1, or I should say, this is week 1. Do you guys believe this? The football season, college football starts Thursday in that week 0 crap, where there's about a handful of games on, and then they kick it off completely next weekend. But college football starts Thursday. God damn. But Penn State will be playing on the 30th on Labor Day weekend, and they got Nevada. That's their first team in the schedule for the number 2 ranked Ep156, number 2 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions heading into the season. Can they build upon the success of 2024? Can they advance beyond the BCS semifinal game? I was really hoping last year for a Penn State-Ohio State championship game. That was, for a minute, it seemed like a reality, but oh well. But we'll got you covered, or Mike Lara will have you covered with the Happy Valley Huddle all of this Penn State football season, starting on Saturday, August 30th, against the University of Nevada. And bonus points for anybody that can tell me what they are. The University of Nevada what? And no, it's not the Fighting Blackjack Dealers. You get a bonus point here on the program if you can tell me without Googling it what Nevada calls themselves. Because I had to look it up. I can't lie. Who the hell follows University? Aren't they out there in the WAC? What the hell are they even doing playing Penn State? But we'll wait for week 2 because Penn State's got a date with Villanova. Who sets this stuff up, man? But week 1 will be Penn State and Nevada. Make sure you're back for the Happy Valley Huddle, our newest program here on the network. We got another one coming out on the 3rd of September. I haven't got any graphics on that one, so I'm not going to get into that. Of course, the Attacking Third every Thursday at 9, your PM in the AM every Sunday morning at 9, and then the wraparound every Friday night at 10:30 with Pat or Mike or whoever decides to jump on in. So we're plenty going on here on the network as we get ready to transition into the fall and into football. Again, college football starts in friggin' 4 days. Or I'm sorry, 3 days. Absolutely 100% amazing. So let's get it going tonight, folks. Ricky Deal says, go Phillies. Yeah, it was a good win, man. Yeah, great win by, Joe Hale says that. Hey, everyone, Joe's up. I believe it's the Nevada Wolfpack. Bing, bing, bing. Joe Hale gets the bonus point tonight. It is indeed the Nevada Wolfpack. I would have went with Fighting Blackjack Dealers personally, but it is the Nevada Wolfpack, and they will be battling Penn State week 1. And we'll have you covered with the Happy Valley Huddle, the Penn State Nittany Lion football postgame show, exclusively on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. So let's get it going. Let's get it strapped in, strap on, strap it up, and put your head, hands, feet inside the car at all times. And here we go on your day in Philadelphia sports history, all the way back to the illustrious year 1909. Yep, 1909. And no, I was not there. I have to say those all the time because I think people think I'm like 1,000 years old. The colorful Arlie Latham, nicknamed the freshest man on earth. Interesting. Became the oldest player at 49 in Major League history to steal a base, swiping second for the New York Giants in a 4-1 win over the Phillies. One of baseball's most zany characters, Latham was famous for running up and down the baselines as a third base coach while yelling obscenities to opposing pitchers to distract them. One of his players during his coaching days with the Giants once commented years later that Latham was probably the worst third base coach that ever lived. There you go. So kind of an obscure, non-sexy fact, and makes me miss baseball of yesteryears when you can get away with stuff like that. But on this night back in 1909, Arlie Latham became the oldest player in Major League Baseball history at 49 to steal a base, and it was against the Philadelphia Phillies. Of course it was. And that was your day in Philadelphia sports history. So, oh man. Star Wars chimes in with 23 runs in 2 games. Yep, 23 runs in 2 games indeed. 11 yesterday, 12 today. Actually, wasn't it 23? Are you missing that? It wasn't it. Didn't they score 20? Didn't they score 11 yesterday? It's 23 runs in 2 days, right? Am I wrong? Somebody tell me. But I get your point, Star Wars, and it's been nice to see that. You know, I've always maintained offense is going to win this thing, or offense is going to lose it. We're going to sit back here at the end of the season and lament over the fact that the offense just failed again, or we're going to sit back at the end of the season and toast World Series championship glory because the offense didn't fail. It really does come to me to paramount down to the offense, and that's just the way this team is constructed. And don't get mad at me for that. That's the way John Middleton built them. That's the way Dave Dombrowski put them together. They are an offensive-laden team, and if they can get pitching, which they have gotten most of the time, even in a night like tonight where the bullpen failed horribly, they were staked to a 7-run lead, and for all intents and purposes, they kind of held it. Technically, I mean, no, I guess they didn't. I mean, they gave up 7 runs at the end there, but you had the offense humming, and you had things going in all cylinders, and they did enough to win, and that's all you can ask for. And I'm not saying I'm overlooking the pitching issues, especially in the bullpen. And obviously, we're going to talk about, and Mike Papernick brings it right up, Romano, or however you say his name. Somebody please put him out to pasture. Yeah, I remember complaining about that back in February. It was, we let Trevor Hoffman leave. Not Trevor Hoffman. What was that guy's name? Jeff Hoffman. Trevor Hoffman. We let Jeff Hoffman walk away. You let Estevez walk away, and you bring in Joe Ross and you bring in Jordan Romano. It just didn't seem fair, right? Or it didn't seem balanced that they did that. I'm not saying that you needed to go ahead and re-sign Hoffman or Estevez, but I would have liked to have seen them upgrade a little bit better than Romano, who was coming off of an injury-plagued season last year. And then he was an all-star, I think, in 23, but he was a reclamation project. It obviously has not worked up to this point. And then you had Joe Ross, who, didn't get a contract tendered by the Brewers. So, there were some concerns about that, obviously. And, am I going to feel comfortable if you see Jordan Romano in the 8th inning of the NLCS with a 1-run lead? No, I ain't going to feel comfortable about that. But maybe we don't see that. Maybe Jordan Romano has played himself into a 6th inning and earlier type of role with this team. Now that you've got somewhat of roles in that bullpen, and you look at Romano and you look at Ross and you look at them as long relief guys at this point. The back end of the bullpen is pretty much, or should be pretty much set. But I definitely feel you there, Papernick, and I feel everybody else is concerned about Romano. And I'm not saying you give him a 5-year contract after the season. Obviously, you're going to move on from him, just a 1-year deal. But I guess it's paramount that Rob just keeps Romano out of any sort of high leverage position. Now, tonight, up 7-0, that's not necessarily a high leverage position. But again, I'm going to say this: if I have a criticism about tonight, it was potentially to leave Suarez in that game. What was his final line? Let me take a look here. I didn't really break this thing down. Suarez had 102 pitches through 7 innings. Yeah, okay, so that was the right thing to do. But he's still 102 pitches through 7 or 6 2/3 is quite a bit. Yeah, all right. But I don't know, man. Maybe try to get him out through the 7th. Maybe try to get Suarez through the 7th. If there was a pitcher out there that needed that sort of confidence, there's a pitcher on this staff that needed that to walk off that mound feeling really good about himself. It's probably Ranger Suarez, and Jesus Luzardo is the close number 2. But yeah, 102 pitches is pretty elevated. Matter of fact, it's very elevated for 6 2/3 innings. So Rob Thompson might have done the right thing. And, what are you going to do? You're up 7-1 at that point. It's not Aaron Nola pitching, so you don't expect them to give up a 6-run lead. But they came in and they didn't do a good job. The bullpen did not do a good job, but the bullpen was not a traditional bullpen tonight. It was just, well, come on, let's just get to the end of this game. But yeah, I feel you. Jordan Romano's not doing much for me anymore either. The Phillies offense will have to perform like this another now, as there is no margin for error. There isn't. And when they do, and they've done it a handful of times, they've done it not as many times as I want them to do it, but they've done it a handful of times. But this is how they're going to win a World Series. Plain and simple. This is how they're going to do it. There's absolutely no question in my mind that's what's going to happen. So, can they? Is the big question. I don't know, but when they do, gee, does it not look good? I mean, is there any team that really can kind of run with them? But the big question is if they can. So, let's take a look. The big nights today. You got Trey Turner, who had 4 hits and a homer and 5 RBIs. Obviously, the big night. Harper had himself a 3-hit night with 2 homers and 3 RBIs. Romildo, JT with 3 hits and a homer, yeah. So, I mean, this is what you want to see from the people you want to see it. This is what you want to see, and this is the production you got to see and from the people you want to see it from. So, this is an example of what it looks like when it works. And unfortunately, we just haven't seen it enough. And if they can continue doing that, there's no one that's going to get in their way. Ricky Deal says, let's go Phillies. Wheeler has successful surgery. He had a successful procedure today to remove the blood clot. Now it's on to the rehab, and hopefully that's a quick one, and he gets back as soon as he can. I think Suarez will show the rest of the season in playoffs because he's all about the free agent contract. There's that. There is that going on with Suarez. He's playing himself for a contract from somebody next year. I don't know if that contract will be from the Phillies. Probably not, but there is that. But again, I need to see the offense. I hate to say this over and over again. To me, it's all about the offense. The way this offense, of who these players are, the money they're signed for, it's obviously about the offense. And even when Ranger goes out there and struggles, and even when Lazaro goes out there and struggles, and say the Phillies are down by 6 runs, that should not be an insurmountable deficit for this offense. But the problem has been the offense just has not gotten it together consistently enough. And that's going to be the downfall of the entire season. Bohm came in, they are hitting. Is Alec Bohm the good luck charm there, Star Wars? Alvarado comes back tomorrow. Yeah, the 19th he's activated. I think he's in Lehigh Valley now. I think he's on a rehab assignment. I'm pretty certain he is, or he was. I don't know if he's in Lehigh, Reading, Clearwater. I don't know where he's at in the system, but I think you're right. He does get activated, or his suspension ends tomorrow. So whether or not he's activated, or if they keep him wherever they're going to keep him for a little while longer, is completely up to the team. But he's eligible to play tomorrow. Let's kind of put it that way. So Phillies win 12-7, and I think the lead now. Let's take a look at the standings real quick. Again, I didn't really do much prep about the Phillies tonight. They were sitting. So the lead is back to 5.5 over the Mets. I'm not sure if the Mets are done playing. 72 wins now for the Phillies on the season. And, again, you need to see this. 0 margin of error, as everybody likes to say, for the Phillies right now, as they head into the most pivotal point of the 162-game season. Now tomorrow, what was Cal Riley's numbers tonight? I didn't even look to see what Cal did. Let's take a look at Cal Riley, the big dumper. 0 for 5. See, Ranger was dealing, man. What was Rangers? 10 strikeouts tonight? Damn, that's pretty damn good. 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts, but as I said, 102 pitches through 6 1/3. Or 2/3. It's a little elevated. But I still probably would have hedged on keeping him out there for the 7th. I would have let him finish the 7th, honestly. And then who knows? You turn it over, but you still turn it over the Romano, but you're up 7-1. It's hard for me to get really on anybody at this particular moment in time, because this is one of those games that this is a Phillies win. This is what these are the games this team's going to win. And it's kind of hard for me to get on when it's like this. Alvarado and Duran spells nasty. Yeah, well, that's if if whatever Jose Alvarado was taking, don't forget, we don't know what the physical ramifications are of him not taking whatever it was he was taking. Is that going to lose that half millimeter off that fastball? I mean, there is that to think about. Is the fact that he's not taking PEDs anymore, or whatever he was taking that was illegal, is now going to like drop his fastball down that half a second? And that's, of course, the difference of success and failure in Major League Baseball. And, of course, he's not available for the postseason. So anything you're going to get from Alvarado here over the next 6 weeks is sort of like fool's gold, because you can't rely on it come October. So I like the back end of the bullpen right now. I like Strom in the 7th, Kirkering in the 8th, and Duran in the 9th. I think that's a very formidable path to a save for the Phillies. I really like that. And would it be nice to kind of add Alvarado into that mix in the 8th inning as well? Or maybe push everybody down and have Strom in the 6th, Kirkering in the 7th, Alvarado in the 8th, maybe, or flip-flop them around. Yeah, it's great to create more options there, but you're not going to have that. And that's something that, sure, can Alvarado help this team get to where it needs to go? He can 100%. But at the end of the day, he can't be there to the end. So I don't know. I don't want to get too excited about what Jose Alvarado might come back and be, because it's not going to help us out at all in the postseason. It's all about the postseason with me. With Alvarado coming back, Strom, Kirkman, Duran will get break here and there for down the stretch. Yeah, maybe. If Alvarado's effective, don't forget, if he's effective. If he comes out there looking like Aaron Nola, then where we are. We don't know what the physical side effects are going to be that he's not taking whatever he was taking before. Was the reason why he was pitching and could pitch as fast or as hard as he could, was it because of what he was taking, or is that going to be offsetted now? We don't know what his physical shape will be. We don't know how his arm's going to be. We don't know how his arm speed is going to be. So yeah, potentially you could have that, but again, we're putting our eggs in a basket that's kind of not known right now. I just hope Robbie doesn't use Strom as a spot starter like he has in the past. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're in that position this year. I don't. The Phillies, even with the situation with Nola, who will pitch again, obviously. So Nola's not hurt. I keep thinking Nola's not part of this. He still is. So he'll get another shot to pitch again. And then you got the other 4, so they're all going to pitch. I don't think they're going to go to that configuration. And if they got to pull somebody up from AAA, as I mentioned, not Moises Chase, but Seth Johnson, Alan Rangel, and again, I want to see Gene Cabrera, but he's not going to come up from AA unless it's in September. And then you could also now factor into the mix the Eastern League Player of the Month, Griff McGarry. Yeah, we mentioned him on the Down on the Phillies Farm Report this week. Second straight week, he was the Pitcher of the Week for the Reading Fighting Phillies. But now he was named the Eastern League's Player of the Month. Wow. As he's making a resurgence. As I said, there was a time that McGarry's name was mentioned in the same circle as Mick Abel and Andrew Painter. Now, those times have long passed. He fell off, but now he's picking it back up again. And again, I'm not saying McGarry's part of this year, but McGarry's another arm to consider heading into next season, especially in camp, and see where he's at and factor him into the rotation, hopefully, as he continues his resurgence. So can't forget about Griff McGarry. And with a name like Griff, how can you? But Phillies win 12-7, get off on a right foot against the Seattle Mariners. Tomorrow night, they will try to keep it going, and hopefully they do. So we'll have to wait and see. But over the last 2 days, if you want to point at something negative, you can point at the starting pitching of Aaron Nola, and you can also look at the bullpen tonight as sort of 2 negative things. But look at this too. What was yesterday? They were 7 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Yeah, it was yesterday. Tonight, where are they tonight? They were 6 for 14. So 13 for 28 over their last 2 games with runners in scoring position. I will take that. That's somewhere in the 600 range, or No, it's somewhere up in like the 400 range of batting with runners in scoring position. I will take that. I will take that 100%. So good game by the Phillies tonight. Another good offensive explosion. Another key victory over a very quality baseball team in the Seattle Mariners. Let's see if they can keep it rolling tomorrow against the Mariners as well as we wrap up. As we get into the meat of the series, go for the series win tomorrow, baby. That's right. Make that business person special on Wednesday irrelevant for me to have to do post game. But Phillies went to win. They made a minor, was it the roster move tonight? The kid who came up and pitched and struggled a little bit there in the end of the game, Nolan Hoffman, was called up there from AAA today. He's a tweener guy. Last pitch for the Rangers organization. He's been around the league for a while. Didn't look too good, but you know what? He's a body. He's an arm at this point. Don't expect Nolan Hoffman to be part of this thing either. But all systems are good, and this was a good game, good win for the Phillies tonight. So let's transition real quick now to our Philadelphia Eagles, because as we get ready for Friday night's preseason finale against the New York Jets in the annual final game of the 2025 preseason, and it always seems to be against the Jets. Where are you with the Eagles? What's the record for August so far? Hang on, I'll tell you in a second. I got it right here. Right now in August, they are, to include tonight's win, they're 11-6 so far this month. So, you know, it's a lot better than it's been over the last few months with 500 baseball, but 11-6, that's okay. You know, it's okay. With about a half a month left to go, it's okay. But Eagles trading their Harrison Bryant 4th-string tight end or a guy that probably would have made the team anyway, along with a 5th-round draft pick. I still can't get over the 5th-round draft pick that they sent to the Houston Texans for John Mechie III. And they also required a 6th-round pick in that deal. I said it last night when the news first broke. You know, this is not a trade that gets me upset. This is not a trade that gets me you're like, oh, wow, or we're going to win the Super Bowl now. It's a trade that kind of puzzles me a little bit because where was the deficiencies in the wide receiver room, even with the alleged A.J. Brown hamstring situation? What priority does the wide receiver room have over the debacle of the defensive backfield right now? And why do you go out and acquire a guy that's going to be buried down on that depth chart, probably as your number 4? I mean, does he make a push for the 3? Can he oversee Jahan Dotson? You know, he had leukemia early in his career. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. This is Mechie, of course. He's an Alabama guy. I mean, is that the reason why he's here? I don't really understand the reasoning around picking this kid up. I really don't. So John mentioned convenient Eagles punt returner and kick returner. I mean, is that the reason why they brought him here? Again, was punt returner, kick returner, was that the priority? Is that something that it was going to keep us away from winning a Super Bowl this year? I don't know. I don't think it is. But not being able to stop anything on the outside, that's definitely not going to keep us away from winning a Super Bowl. So again, I'm not upset about the trade. I'm just somewhat puzzled by it. Did he make a trade just to make a trade? Is this a trade of John? Is John Mechie going to get flipped himself for a potential secondary help from another team? Someone needs to explain this trade to me and why it happened and why it was a priority over the defensive backfield room. Because right now, as we get into the final game of this preseason, and we are 2 weeks away from kickoff for real, with no more preseason, and we'll also see the starters play. How do you feel about this football team heading into a title defense year? Can we do an Eagles party on live? We do a post-game show on live. That's all I can do. We have 2 shows on this network dedicated to the Eagles, and one of them was with me. So come out every Wednesday or Thursday night when we do the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, And we'll party it up there, Ricky. I promise. I promise you, man. We'll party it up. But heading into a title defense season, something that the Eagles have a golden opportunity, and not many teams get this opportunity. And the Eagles have it right now. The Eagles have an opportunity to usher in the Philadelphia Eagle dynasty. This is what I've been wanting. This is what I want, and I think every Eagle fan wants to be called a dynasty. But as we sit here on the precipice of 2025, and we sit here right at the beginning of this, how do you feel that this team is going to handle 2025, not 2024 part 2, because that season's over. And we've moved on from a lot of players. Matter of fact, where's that little, is this it right here? Is this the one? Yep, there you go. There's a snapshot of 6 of the players we've lost. Now, Brandon Graham is not on this list. So he was the 7th one. But the contributors, the hardcore contributors to this team, and with the exception of Mekhi Becton there, standing there dead center, everyone else is on the defense. So we lost Isaiah Rodgers, Milton Williams, Darius Slay, CJ, GJ, BJ, and Josh Sweat, and Brandon Graham. We lost all that talent in one offseason. Now, some of it was self-inflicted. Brandon Graham retired to get it. Milton Williams went and got paid. Get it. Isaiah Rodgers could have been kept. I don't know why they didn't keep him. And Slay and DJ, weren't they traded? Or no, Slay was cut for a salary cap move, and DJ was traded. So, and I said this back in March, and I said this in April, and I've said this in May, and I said when anyone asked me about this, are these the moves that a defending Super Bowl champion, a team that's got an opportunity to go out and start a dynasty, are these the type of moves that they should have made? And the players they brought in to replace them, type B free agents, and now we're hearing how some of these guys are not going to make this team. And you're also relying on draft picks that have never performed up to the level that you wanted them to perform, but apparently they were going to break through this summer, i.e. Keely Ringo, Sidney Brown. Was this the right way to go about defending a title? And nobody wants to, everybody's so goddamn brainwashed when it comes to Howie Roseman. Everyone doesn't want to give him the criticism sometimes that he deserves. And is it hard to give him criticism coming off of a Super Bowl season? Yeah, maybe. But you now have an opportunity to win another one. And a lot of Eagles fans, especially of the homer variety, they like to talk out of both sides of their mouth when it comes to Howie. Howie's about masterful management of the cap. Howie's about one step ahead of everybody else, chess while they're playing checkers, all that nonsense. But a man who's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, let these 6 and Brandon Graham walk away? Each one of these individuals was prime contributor to this Super Bowl. And 6 of them were on the defense. And the defense never gets the credit that they deserve, the proper credit that they deserve for how much of a factor they were in winning that Super Bowl. I maintain this, and I will maintain it forever. You take Jalen Hurts out of the mix last season with any other quarterback in the NFL, any starting quarterback, the Eagles still win a Super Bowl. You take Saquon Barkley out of the mix, I don't know if they win a Super Bowl. Maybe they do. I don't know. But you take away the defense, the impact of that defense, especially from week 9 all the way to Super Bowl Sunday. If you take that away from last year's team, this team does not win a Super Bowl. Hands down. And what side of the ball got pilfered the most? The defense. And now here we sit 2 weeks or so away from the start of the regular season. We don't know who the second cornerback is. We don't know who the safeties are for all of them. And is this the right way you prepare to defend a Super Bowl championship? And if it doesn't work, and they missed the opportunity to repeat, there won't be real accountability towards Howie Roseman. No, because people are brainwashed about that fool. So I asked the question, how are you feeling as we get ready to start the season? And you can chime in about the offense as well. The offense is pretty much intact from last year. But to me, it's about the defense. So DeJohn is starting cornerback. I disagree, man. Again, okay, so we're going to take Cooper DeJohn out of the slot, and we're going to put him on the outside next to Quinion. Who are you putting in the slot? Who are you putting down there? And do you not the pick 6 in the Super Bowl came from the slot in Cooper DeJohn. Why would you do that? Why would you mess up something that worked amazingly in 2024? And for a team that's supposedly masterminded by the best GM ever to come down the pike, why do we have to rob Peter to pay Paul? Why isn't there another friggin' cornerback other than Cooper DeJohn who can go outside and play the outside? Again, we're talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Howie Roseman, and he did not prepare his team with another cornerback, and now you got to take out of the slot, and you're going to take away from that position, and you're going to move Cooper DeJohn out wide? This is Howie Roseman we're talking about, the greatest GM ever. And he did not adequately prepare his team with one other cornerback that could play. So that's slapping a Band-Aid on a problem, Joe Hale. And I know you mentioned it last night when we were talking live. You're slapping a Band-Aid around a problem. You're shell gaming it. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Why can't we just have another cornerback? We had one. His name was Darius Slay. Now, all-pro season, not a big Slay guy. Honestly, I think for the most part, Slay was didn't do too good here. But I can't take away what he provided the Eagles last year. All right? I can't take that away. And obviously, if you have an opportunity to upgrade from Slay, you take it. But we didn't upgrade from Slay. We downgraded immensely. CJ, GJ, BJ, gone for the year right now with a torn ACL. So I guess maybe we wouldn't have had him anyway. But what did you do to upgrade the spot? You didn't. Again, Howie Roseman's the greatest GM ever. He let this talent walk away, and that's fine. They're older. They're being paid a lot of money. I agree. You move on. But what did he do? What did the greatest GM in football history do to upgrade CB2, or I guess Slay was CB1 last year, and safety? What did he do that was so masterful? And the situation with Keely Ringo. Don't act like this is a surprise that he's not ready to step up. He hasn't been ready to step up for the past 2 seasons that he's been here. So everyone that's kind of mystified by the fact that Keely Ringo is not stepping up, I don't know what to tell you, man. I honestly don't. You're part of that Homer crowd that you need help. But I ask you, going into this season, a title defense opportunity, the dawn of a dynasty, everything about the defense is underappreciated from last year. And don't sit there and tell me, any of you that are watching right now, that you appreciated the defense's effort. You don't. You don't really appreciate it. Yeah, it's part of the overall package, and you acknowledge it. But I'm telling you, you take away that defense's contributions, especially from week 9 on, they do not win a Super Bowl. And can this group of players replicate that? Because again, we're talking about winning another Super Bowl. We're not talking about winning another division title or getting back to the playoffs. We're talking about climbing the mountain yet again. And you're going to need everything to work as good as it did last year, and in some cases better, because I don't think Saquon Barkley's rushing for 2,500 yards this year. If he does, he's the greatest running back that's ever lived. But I don't think realistically you can expect him to do that. So now what do? All eyes are now turned on Jalen Hurts. And this nonsense about him being an elite quarterback is once again going to be the driving conversation all season long. Not whether or not he's a good quarterback, an above average quarterback, a Super Bowl champion quarterback, and yes, a Super Bowl MVP. But is he an elite quarterback? Is Jalen Hurts? And when I look at elite, and I don't want to turn this into a Jalen Hurts conversation, but when I look at an elite quarterback, I look at the quarterback that can put his team on his shoulders and carry them to a Super Bowl. or carry him to a win. Name me the last time Jalen Hurts led this team on a 2-minute drive at the end of the game for the win. That's okay. I will wait. I don't think he's ever done it. With maybe the exception of the Buffalo game 2 years ago, which also happened to be the downfall of the beginning of the end of this team. But with the exception of the Buffalo game in 2023, when was the other times that Jalen Hurts has led this team to a victory, put the team on his shoulders and taken them to a victory? You can't name it to me because it's not happened. So if you're not going to get 2,500 rushing yards out of Saquon Barkley, and I don't think Matt Shipley and A.J. Dillon are going to offset the yardage that Saquon doesn't get. If you're not going to get that yardage out of them, you're going to put the burden and the emphasis on winning on the arm of your quarterback, who, yes, is a capable quarterback in this league. He is not elite. And if we're going to expect Jalen Hurts to lead us to a victory, which he's only done once before and literally only one game before, and in the biggest stage when he had an opportunity to establish himself as an elite quarterback 2 Super Bowls ago, he failed. Remember that game? When he had the opportunity at the end of the game to snatch defeat or victory from the jaws, but he didn't do it, man. We're going to now ask him to actually step into that role and be that elite quarterback. And can he do it? I don't think he can. I don't think that's the type of quarterback he is, and that's okay. He's a competent, capable guy. So the robbing Peter to pay Paul mantra might be something that we're talking about a lot this season. You decimated the back end of the defense. You hurt the defensive line by not. And again, I've already justified why he made some of the decisions. Milton Williams, I wasn't going to pay that money. It's like paying Hargrave the money he went and got, and it's not worth it. I agree. Isaiah Rodgers, I don't understand why they didn't re-sign him. I still don't understand why they re-signed him. Slay, they cut him to save some money. Did they not try to restructure his deal? I mean, I don't think maybe they did and Slay wasn't hearing it. Maybe. I don't know. Why did they trade DJ? Now, again, he's hurt out for the year, so maybe would that have happened if he was here? You can't answer that. Sweat, again, wanted to get paid. And that's fine. If these guys, you're not available or wanting to give these players the money they want, let them go. But you didn't do enough, in my opinion, to replace them. Now, does Jihad Campbell become the new Josh Sweat? Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Does Keely Ringo figure out and is an actual starting cornerback in this league? No, he's not. Is Andrew Mukuba, based on a pick 6 from a terrible quarterback in Dylan Gabriel in a preseason game in mid-August, is that the as a lot of people are saying, he's earned the job because of that one play? I hope that's not true. I hope people aren't really thinking that. But is he the answer at safety? Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. There's just a lot of those types of questions about the defense going into this season. And they're not the kind of questions I think you should be asking about a defending Super Bowl champion. So how are you feeling about the Eagles? There's a rumor floating around about the Eagles having inquired about Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. Okay. There's also a rumor floating around that the Phillies were going to trade for Stephen Kwan and Emmanuel Cassé. Who was the rumor started by there, Papernick? The little guy that lives in your refrigerator? Rumors are great, man. What do you think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to want from Trey Hendrickson? What do you think they're going to want? And why would they trade him? What good would that do for them? Also, I've been hearing that John wants to go outside. Of course he wants to go outside. No cornerback wants to play the slot. He's a young kid. He wants to play outside where all the sexy plays are. Yet again, he made one of the sexiest plays in Eagle history against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So, of course he does. I don't give a damn what he wants to do. He's going to do where the team needs him to be most productive. And if we had a viable another option in the slot, okay. Put him outside. But who you putting in the slot? Ringo? Ricks? Brown? Can you imagine Ringo in the slot? Tight ends, wide receiver threes will be running wild against this team. That's my point about this whole rant. There's not been enough done to solidify a Super Bowl champions run for repeated glory. We can't find one other cornerback. There's not one other capable cornerback on this entire roster that you can put outside opposite Quinyon Mitchell. This is the defending Super Bowl champions we're talking about. Does anybody else see a problem with that? Does anybody else have heartburn about that? Or are you all still drinking from the green Kool-Aid brewed by Mr. Howie Roseman? And I honestly want to know why it's like that. Well, why are we like hedging over one player? I don't get it. And maybe this conversation will bring some of you around to that way of thinking. Super Bowl champion. We're not talking about going into the playoffs. We're not talking about ending the 28-year, whatever it is, curse of no team winning the back-to-back NFC East. We're not talking about that. We are talking about going back to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl again. Is this team in the best position it can be right now to do that? And I say it's not. And that's Howie Roseman's fault. Right? Ain't my fault. Matt, can I do the... Matt, no. Why? He has no T. What? I have no what? Yeah, okay. We trust Howie, all right. I trust him here, man. I would love to get Howie on this show. I would love to have 1 hour with Howie Roseman. Unfiltered, uncensored. I love to interview him. It would be an interview of a lifetime. I would love to get inside of his brain. That would be great. That'd be must-watch TV, folks, if I would ever have the opportunity to interview Howie Roseman. That would be like a dream come true. So if anybody else wants to help me out, get me Howie Roseman. Bring me Howie Roseman. Hurts not going good on throwing. Yeah, now of course Jalen Hurts is struggling. The reports out of camp is that he's not throwing the ball all that well. Struggling with is he struggling with another new offense? And that's another factor I haven't even glossed over. And it's so funny listening to. I'd like to go a night without mentioning the homers, but listening to the homers out there. Apparently, Kevin Patullo, whatever how you say his name, is this situation by bringing an unknown offensive coordinator or an unknown, never done it before. He's the quarterback's coach, right? Now we're making him the offensive coordinator. Apparently, this is okay because of his relationship with Jalen Hurts as a quarterback's coach. It's like we've forgotten completely about what happened with Brian Johnson. It never happened. And it literally happened like 2 years ago. We did the same thing. We brought an unknown coach into the mix as offensive coordinator. It didn't work. It was terrible. It blew up in the Eagles' faces after starting the season out 11-1. But we don't even go back there. We don't even there's no even mention of that of that potential PTSD of it happening the last time. And then you want to make, and then again, the homers are going to rag on the Lions for going with two brand new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I mean, what the hell is going on here, man? Are you people not even looking? I mean, are you people so tone deaf to what's happening with your own team? It's so funny to me. It's like it's going to be a seamless transition because it worked before. It didn't work before. That doesn't mean it won't work this time. But what I also fear with that is, what is Nick Sirianni's role in all this? Apparently being the cheerleader, the highest paid cheerleader on the team, running up and down the sidelines, chewing out the refs, yelling at the fans, whatever he was doing worked really well. But now we're probably going to ask him to coach again. And does he take over the offense if it starts to struggle? And did he do that last time Was he part of the reason why they fizzled down the stretch when they were 11-1? And is Nick Sirianni going to be asked to jump back into that seat if Kevin Padula does not succeed and there's some problems with the offense? And what's the ramifications of that? Nobody talks about that. No, we just want to concern Nick Sirianni was the greatest coach ever. Even though he was publicly stripped of just about all his coaching responsibilities in terms of play calling heading into the 2024 season. But apparently Nick Sirianni is the best coach ever. He's the best cheerleader ever. I'll give you that. And how much does that get exposed yet again in 2025? All questions that we're not talking about. Go Phillies. Well, this is the Jalen's not again. Is that are you joining the Big Al's excuse emporium tonight, Michael Papernick? He's an elite quarterback, right? I don't know how you come out on the Jalen Hurts conversation, but if he's an elite quarterback, do you think Tom Brady cared who the hell his offensive coordinator was? You think Tom Brady cared that he would get 9 offensive coordinators since college? No. Do you think Joe Montana cared if he had 9 offensive coordinators since college? No. So why are we giving Jalen Hurts that pass? He's an elite quarterback, right? You overcome that, correct? Your natural ability and your talent as an elite quarterback in this league should not hold you back from the offensive coordinator lack of consistency. So which is it? Is he an elite quarterback or is he a above average to decent quarterback who needs some help? And I'm okay with admitting the fact that he's an above average quarterback because he certainly is not elite. But we give him a lot of excuses. We give an elite quarterback an awful lot of excuses to put inside of his bag. They'll go along with his Super Bowl ring and his Super Bowl trophy. How are the Eagles supposed to keep an OC when they win and the team comes in? No, it's not a double-edged sword. No, it's not. Again, I just went on a 2-minute rant about it. Who was the OC affect the most? Who is the offensive coordinator affect the most on the team? It's the quarterback. We have an elite quarterback. It shouldn't be minimalistic of how many offensive coordinators they go through. All right? And there's nobody talking about that right now. Everyone's just saying, oh, who cares? We're not even discussing the fact that it's yet another offensive coordinator. That conversation is like 120th on the list that I've heard. I hear it very rarely. Matter of fact, it's an afterthought. It's beyond an afterthought. No one's discussing it right now. Right now, they're not discussing it. I'm sure you get off to an 0-3 start whenever they're going to start discussing it. But right now, we're not talking about that. No, we're still gushing over what happened in 2024. Elite quarterbacks should not matter how many offensive coordinators they go through. I don't hear Tom Brady thanking his offensive coordinators when he does go in the Canton on his first ballot. I don't think he's going to go over the list of offensive coordinators and really thank them for being a pivotal part of his career. I know Joe Montana didn't do it when he went in. Dan Marino didn't do it when he went in. Steve Young didn't do it when he went in. The list goes on and on and on of the elite quarterbacks that when they went into this Hall of Fame didn't sit there and read off all the offensive coordinators that greatly enhanced their game. It's an afterthought, man. Elite quarterbacks should be able to adapt and overcome anything. Really good quarterbacks to above average, you're right. They need some consistency. Absolutely do. And that's not a bad thing. Not at all. I don't see Kevin doing well his first year as coordinator. We don't know. Again, this could be another mute point, Stalwars. Maybe he goes out there and he is that missing link, but maybe he's not. We don't have to wait for this to play out. And that's all this is right now, speculative talk. But I know a lot of Eagles fans. Know a lot of them. And I'm one too. I'm out. Been out for a long time, but I'm out. But I'm an Eagle fan. They don't talk about it because they're afraid of the Homer Gestapo and the Bird Gang and all that. They're afraid to talk about that. But they're all thinking it. Every one of them is. Every single Eagle fan out there is thinking Why did we let 7 contributors go off the team and replace them with bargain basement replacements? And how much is that going to affect us going down the line? And if the defense does not replicate in any way that what they did last year, can Jalen Hurts pick up that slack? They're all thinking it. They're just afraid to talk about it. And that's the difference between me and you. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I am your inner voice. I'm the devil that sits on the other side of your shoulder. But anyway, we are 2.5 weeks away. We got week 3 preseason, Eagles, Jets. Who plays? Who doesn't play? Is it worth the watch? If you're not going to watch the game, then come back over here and watch the post-game show. The Birds Fly By, Eagles, Jets preseason finale. Steve Fuentes or me or Mike Lauro or somebody will have you for that game. And we'll wrap up the preseason in the way we can. I love the Eagles. Ricky, I love the Eagles. I'm an Eagle fan. I want my team saved, but I love them. Don't get it misconstrued now. I am a fan. I'm just not I don't worship at the altar of Howie Roseman. I don't. I think Howie's a fraud. I do. He's won 2 Super Bowls, and that's great. But we have an opportunity right now. We had it in 18, and we have it again in 25. We didn't fall through in 18 because he ran back the same exact team. 25, he dismantled the team and brought in a bunch of sub bargain basement replacements. And we don't know how that's going to work. But we have a unique opportunity. And I know the afterthought of this will not be that Howie Roseman failed to capitalize on a dynasty or multiple Super Bowl championships. No one's going to think that when they talk about Howie. But shouldn't you? Yes, he's proven he can win a Super Bowl, or he can assemble a team that wins a Super Bowl. But can he sustain it? And that's been my knock on Howie the whole time. It's a 1 year at a time project for this guy. He has one team 1 year, dismantles it for the following year, and so on and so forth. I maintain you cannot sustain win that way. I maintain that. So he has a unique opportunity. They failed in 2018. And here we go in 2025. Can he do it? Or has he done enough to put this team in the right position? Matt, can I comment my profile? Sure. After the show, I will. But all right, let's go to the of the night segment because we're running late. All right, the of the night segment has been centered mainly on the Flyers, and we're going to continue doing that because right now that's the only of the night segment in town, and we're going to stay with the Flyers tonight. We're going to we talked about Noah Cates last night. The night before that, we talked about Tyson Forrester, 2 players that I think are cornerstone pieces to this future Flyer team, and we saw from both of those players steps forward in offensive progression in 24-25. And I think continued progression is obviously what's on the table for them too. We're going to go tonight with another player who fits in that same vein with Forrester and Cates. And no, it's not Bobby Brink. We're not going to do him yet. But I talk about the redheaded wonder, Mr. Owen Tippett. Tippett is the player, of course, we all will always remember who Tippett came here for. You know, he was the player in the Claude Giroux trade. 77 games played last year, 20 goals, 23 assists, 43 points, and a -12 in the plus-minus category. What's the biggest knock on Owen Tippett? He plays with his hair on fire. Maybe that's why it's red. He's all over the place, but so are his shots. This is probably one of the more erratic guys in the entire National Hockey League. You don't know where that puck is going to land every time it goes off his stick. And if he can figure that out, and I don't mean completely, but just a little bit, if he can figure out how to put the damn puck on net a little bit, like 1% more than he does now, those 20 goals turn into about 35, right? I have never seen a player frustrate me so much as I have at Owen Tippett. But then again, I've never seen a player attack the puck and attack the game as hard as I've seen with Owen Tippett as well. He's a reckless player who plays one speed and one speed only, but he's got to figure out how to put the puck on the net. And he is part of that core of players that we are going to be heavily reliant upon as we move forward into relevancy with this hockey club. He's got to figure out how to put the puck on net. If next time you watch a Flyers game, just do a mental count or write it down, watch the game, and track how many times Owen Tippett shoots wide. There was one game last year I did that and shot wide 17 times in one game. So if he can get maybe half of those shots on net, there's a potential of more goals. So Owen Tippett, part of that cornerstone foundation, but he's really got to figure out how to put that puck on net more consistently. And once he does, he's going to be, again, a 35 to 40 goal scorer. That minus 12, again, it has nothing to do with his goal scoring ability. It has everything to do with the fact that the Flyers were terrible with giving up goals, and they gave up almost 4 goals a game last year. So everybody kind of suffered there. But Owen Tippett certainly is part of that nucleus of Flyers players that we're going to rely upon heading into this season. And you just got to learn how to put the puck on net, man. Put the puck on net, Tippett. So there you go. There's the other night segment. We featured Owen Tippett. And let's move on now to the card review. All right, the final segment of the night, the best segment of the night, if you ask me. I wait all day for this, and now it has arrived. And tonight, we've been spending a lot of time on the digital age or the new wave age of baseball cards, but we're going to go back into the wax pack tonight. We're going back into the wax era, back into the 80s, 90s, to a card that is worthless financially. Worthless. I mean, $2 if you're lucky. You might get a little bit more if you find a fan of this player, but for sentimental and nostalgic reasons, this card holds a special place in my heart, and it will remain in a place of reverence within my collection. It does not belong in the team box. It belongs in the binders. It belongs under plastic, because what this player symbolized to me and to a lot of Phillies fans my age was the rejuvenation of a baseball team. He was part of the Phillies. Transitional, when all the old players of the 80s were hanging him up, he was breaking through. Matter of fact, he had a pivotal role in the retirement ceremony of Mike Schmidt when the Phillies retired his number. And of course, he's a symbol of one of the greatest Philly seasons, in my opinion, the greatest Philly season of all time, 1993. A lot of people will put him in the category of the greatest catcher in Phillies franchise history. I have Lieberthal as my favorite, as the best catcher, but you definitely can make an argument for this guy as the best catcher in Phillies history. And I speak, of course, of the man, the myth, the legend, the late, great Darren Daulton. And this is his 1992 Dunross. Again, an absolutely worthless baseball card if you're looking at the financials, but it will serve a place of reverence in my collection because it's Darren Daulton. And again, he symbolizes the greatest season in Phillies history, in my opinion. And he was part of that first core of younger players that were going to come along after the dominance of the 80s or the early 80s and supplant players like Schmidt and players like that. So this card is from his Dunross, from the Dunross 92 set. Dunross, of course, the poor man's baseball cards. They're no longer making Dunross cards. Very plain Jane and very direct card. You know, not much was spent on the borders here. Not much was spent on card design. Not much was spent on anything on this set. Very straight in your face, like Dunross was. This is a wax pack era card, so there's a lot of these cards floating around. And again, the most I could find for this card was like $2. Dunross cards are not valuable at all, no matter who you get. But when you're dealing with a player that has more nostalgic memories than potential success in the baseball diamond, and he was a good catcher. And one of the good things that I remember very vividly was I felt very cool that he got an opportunity in '97 when he got traded to the Marlins, and they went on that World Series run. They fell short, and they won the World Series. So Dalton got his ring, and he deserved it. If he couldn't have gotten the ring with the Phillies, I'm glad he got it with the Marlins in that year in '97 when he was traded. But definitely symbolizes so many fond memories of a great year in '93. He's one of the poster children of that team. He was the anchor behind the plate, both defensively and offensively. I mean, he was one of the key hitters. I mean, batted fifth that year in that lineup. And he definitely was part of a new era of Phillies baseball. And he's really the poster child of that. Again, this card is not sexy at all. This is his 92 card. I believe it's his like 8th year in the league at this point, or 6th year in the league, whatever it was, 87 through 92, whatever that is. Not a sexy card at all, but a very special card for me. So the 1992 Darren Daulton Donruss is MattyB's card review of the night. And here it is in its physical form right here. This is it right here, as you can see. Again, no frills baseball card, as Donruss usually was. Here's the front. Now, the back is kind of cool. He's got his picture there in the back, along with his stats. But nothing good. You're not going to corner the market on with the Darren Daulton 92 Donruss. But it's not always about the financial value for me. It's about where it holds a place in my heart. And this card, of course, was built off his 91 stat pack. And then the year before is 93, or the year after is 93. So again, and of course it's the old Phillies uniform. Again, it's just so many cool things about this card to me. So there you have it. The MattyB card review, Darren Daulton, 92 Donruss. And that's going to wrap it up. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Phillies big time winners tonight, 12-7. Eagles are coming down the home stretch of preseason. Are they in the best position they can be to win back-to-back Super Bowls? I say they're not. And please try to tell me otherwise. We'll probably continue that conversation tomorrow night. Tomorrow night I will be back. It will be back for a third show. Can you believe it? I will be back tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Or directly after the Titans finals. So make sure you're tuned back in here, and all the other great programming that we went over earlier on in the show. We're growing, we're getting bigger, better, faster, stronger, and I need your help. So please like, share, subscribe, do all those great things you do for me so that we can do those for you. Papernick says, great show. Papernick, thank you once again for being a vital part to this show. And you have a good night. Everybody else out there, have a good night too. We'll talk again soon. The Titans final tomorrow night, and then me again at 10 o'clock. So you guys have a great rest of your night and a better tomorrow.